All right, so let's talk some Teddy Bridgewater. Listen, I believe he was Pro Football Focus's #1 graded quarterback week 1. I'm not going to go that far. I thought he did a lot of things well. Basically, he is what we kind of knew he was, he can hit the open guy. He can find the open guy and then make that throw, which sounds easy, but it actually does have some difficulties at times. And, a guy who can do that at a high level does have some value to a football team and can kind of extract the value that you have in your receiving core, which, Denver has a very good offense around Teddy. So let's get into the film study and let's talk about what he was able to do specifically in week 1 against the Giants. So let's start off with this play. It's going to be a bit of an imperfect play, but still, it's going to be basically, the way I would describe this is it's a high degree of difficulty play that Bridgewater isn't quite able to complete. So the way this is going to work is that it's going to be a one-on-one matchup with Jeudy, but there is actually safety help over the top, so it's kind of a one-on-one matchup towards the sideline, but the safety will be able to come over and try and get into this play, so that's the issue right here. Like, watch, right when this play starts, so Jeudy doing a great job of winning that one-on-one matchup aspect of the play, but a safety is crashing in, and I do think that this is kind of one of those scenarios where, like, listen, someone with a bigger arm it's just easier for them to make this throw, right? You can throw a bullet and get it in there, and, the safety can't get into this play. A little bit of a smaller arm, you can't quite get it through there as well. Although I would also say one of the things that I was really excited about with Bridgewater is he is someone who historically has been a bit too cautious. So even though this isn't necessarily the route that he's the best at throwing towards, and these situations aren't necessarily where he thrives, at least he's going for it here, whereas in the past he has not done that, and he has kind of taken a check down or taken a sack instead. Well, at least in this game, clearly they're saying, no, don't be afraid to push the ball down the field. And look at how Teddy, the ball does take a bit to get there. It wasn't horrible by any means, but the safety was able to come over and make the play. That's not a bad play. It really isn't. Again, would you have liked it to be there a little bit quicker? I suppose so, but again, we're talking a high degree of difficulty play he wasn't able to make. He also missed some that were a little bit lower degree of difficulties. But, as a whole, the negatives weren't even really too bad. There were some negatives, but these were the negatives I have to talk about where it's like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see like maybe an elite quarterback makes that play. That's usually a good game when I have to mention that Tom Brady, would have probably made some of your worst plays. Like, at that point, okay, yeah, you had a good game for sure. All right, now let's talk some positives. So we'll start off with this one. So it's going to be a cover 2 man, and you see the route on your screen that, this could work. It's Jerry Jeudy who, had a very good game, and watch what's going to happen. So Bridgewater takes a snap, and you see Jeudy. He's getting open very quickly. And this is what Bridgewater can do, is he can locate at the line, okay, where is my best matchup? Where is the guy that I should look towards pre-snap? Because, you look around the field, Jeudy is the guy who is the most open further down the field. There's a check down open, but that won't get you as many yards. Clearly, Jeudy, that was the right pre-snap read to look towards. So Bridgewater does a great job of locating the open guy. It's not just hitting the open guy. You have to find him too. And again, Bridgewater is, he's very accurate down the field, which oftentimes that's more important than being able to, really throw it with a lot of, muscle behind it. Sometimes you do need to zip it in there as well, but sometimes you just need to be accurate. That's all Bridgewater had to do on that play. So stuff like that, I would say, is very good stuff from Teddy Bridgewater. And there's also something like this. So this is a good example of like, okay, there were some plays where I'm like, Giants defense, what is going on? And, they then went up and gave up 30 points to Taylor Heineke. So the Giants defense might not be as good as maybe we thought it could be heading into this season. But that's, I think, important to bring up, actually, about this game is the fact that that is kind of the case, because this is going to be cover 2 zone. You see a receiver running a route that could get into a gap in this coverage. So it's not like a horrible thought that this could potentially get open. It's more so about how open it gets. Look, so the Giants, they're running a disguise, so that's a big part of it, but it's just kind of a perfect play call. The player is wide open at this point. I do think that, like, hey, Giants defenders, even though it is a disguise, you still do have to make sure you cover the wide receivers. That's kind of your job in coverage. Good job. You successfully did the disguise, but now you've left someone completely wide open. But again, this isn't the easiest throw to make. It looks easy because the player is wide open, but Bridgewater is about to get hit, so he has to make this throw right now. He has to throw it a long way. He is at the hash marks on the top of the screen. He's currently standing at like his own 6-yard line, and the throw is going to go to about the 36-yard line, so we're talking, over 30 yards if you factor in how far it has to go down as well while getting hit. It's not the easiest throw, and of course in this zone coverage, the longer it hangs up, the more time a defender could, in theory, come over and make the play, although that's not actually going to work out. But look, it's a good throw, and so again, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a super high degree of difficulty throw, but it's at least a medium degree of difficulty throw, and he's someone who can make medium degree of difficulty throws consistently, and there's a lot of value in that. A lot of times we focus on, well, who can make the Patrick Mahomes stuff, and for good reason. That does tend to separate the good from great quarterbacks, but for the Broncos to make the playoffs, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have to be a Tier 1 quarterback. If he's a Tier 3 quarterback, that's going to be good enough, and he certainly played, he played like a Tier 1 or 2 quarterback. I would say he played like a Tier 2 quarterback week 1, which is very good. And he did have one Patrick Mahomes-y-like play. It was this one. So it's going to be zone coverage. That's the way this works. And the first read on this play for Bridgewater isn't really going to be open. I mean, look, so they're running a mesh concept, and you have a couple of receivers who are open underneath this coverage, but the Giants are kind of all over it. So, Bridgewater could decide to still make that throw, but it is third down. They have to get to the 35. If you make this throw, he has to fall forward and pick up the first down. It's difficult. I think he wants to hit KJ Hamler, who's kind of a little bit further down the field, but he just needs some time to get there. And while he's waiting, pressure comes. He has to get flushed out of the pocket. So while he wanted that, he had to, scramble. Does elude a defender. So already this has been a wild play. And so I've, circled the receiver that it's going to actually get thrown to on this play. That is KJ Hamler. And he's not open if Teddy Bridgewater threw it straight towards him, but he could be open since there is kind of a gap in coverage a little bit further up. But that's not where Hamler specifically is. I mean, this is a gunslinger type throw if Bridgewater wants to make it. And that's not something that Bridgewater has historically done over the course of his career. But again, there is a clear shift with him of he wants to, be a bit more daring, make a throw a little bit quicker. He is a little bit older. He probably understands that, hey, sometimes it's the right move to push the ball down the field. And I mean, look, this is going to be a completion and a first down. Just a great play right there. That's a Tier 1 play, right? Now, can he do that consistently? So far through his career, he hasn't. But he's not a bad quarterback by any means. He's giving you above replacement level quarterback play. I strongly believe that. And can he at least be like a Tier 3 quarterback? It's possible for sure. I think that's absolutely possible. So yeah, as a whole, I mean, listen, it's one game. It gives you hope for optimism. I mean, I would still probably say Bridgewater is probably the guy we've seen throughout the course of his career and not, this incredible, Tier 1 quarterback we saw in week 1 with Denver. There probably will be a bit more mistakes. And one thing I should say as well is it's not like Bridgewater doesn't turn the ball over. And that's kind of one of maybe my concerns is that kind of the issue with him is if you're going to be the game manager, you can't turn the ball over. And he has had too many turnovers over the course of his career, so he needs to turn that down. But if he can do that, I really think that there is some hope for Bridgewater. So it's week 1. I'm going to overreact. It's part of being a football fan is overreactions are fun. I definitely think that there's more optimism about the Denver Broncos now than I had, 2 weeks ago. So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.